What is up everyone, Clayton here, and today we're back with another Elder Scrolls Online video. We are going through another dungeon called Darkshade Cavern, or Cave, one of those two. It is a dungeon with a Ebonheart Pact, and I think it's like level 25 to like 35 dungeon. This is non-veteran, and we are rolling with our Magicka Nightblade. So yeah, he's pretty fun. I'm having a lot of fun with him. In this video, he's level 27, but I actually have him up to level 47. So hopefully we'll be seeing some veteran level dungeons pretty soon, so they're a little bit more difficult. But pretty much this dungeon is pretty straightforward. The bosses don't really have the mechanics they would have if it was a veteran dungeon, since it is a non-vet, because I'm only level 27. But I actually do have some of my new abilities unlocked, and I'm using them in this video. So let's go ahead and go over the skills. The first bar is about the same as what we had in the first video, which is our destruction staff and our main DPS. So our first skill is Inner Light. This is a Mage's Guild ability, and it increases our Magicka, which is really good because Magicka, as a kind of a tongue twister, is how you do damage. The more magic you have as a Magicka-based caster, the more damage you'll do. So it's really good, and I really enjoy having it on there because, I mean, more Magicka is always fucking good. Anyways, our second ability is Refreshing Path. Refreshing Path is kind of unique. It is a damage over time ability, which means we throw out a long corridor, and as long as enemies stand in it, it deals damage to them. And if we put it over our allies, it will heal them. So pretty much this ability I just used as another damage over time to increase my DPS. Also, if my allies are low, so like right here, I'll probably show it out right there. You can barely see it, but it heals people and also gives me movement speed, which is really cool. Swallow Soul is our third ability. It is our main DPS and pretty much what I spam. It does damage, and every 2 seconds it heals me for 25% of the damage that I've dealt. So it's a good way to deal damage and keep me topped off on health, and literally what I spam in all the boss fights. So for our fourth ability is another damage over time that we want to make sure we keep up on the boss as much as we can, and that is, I think it's Crippling Grasp, and that makes it so that the enemy is slower, and it also does damage over time. So I want to make sure I have that on the enemy as much as I can, so it just does more and more damage. Our fifth ability is Impale, and that's just our execute. Pretty much what it does is that enemies at below 300 health, it does, below 25% health, it does 300% more damage. That makes a little bit more sense. And our ultimate on this bar is Veil of Blades, which when you put down, it does damage over time, it reduces the damage you take, and it also lowers the movement speed of your enemies. So that's our first bar, and it's really, really good. So as you can see right here through my trash mobs that I'm doing, I'm pretty much just throwing down Refreshing Path and then just Swallow Souling them to death. And then when I see someone get low, I just execute them. So on our second bar is pretty much our support kind of skills. For number one, we have a restoration staff for this one. Make sure we say that. And then for our first skill is Siphoning Strikes. This is when I make a tornado up in the air with my staff. You probably see it in a second or two. But what it does is that every auto attack or basic attack I do, it gives me back Magicka and stamina, which is really good. It's a good way to make sure that I keep my Magicka topped off if I ever get low. My second ability on that is Aspect of Terror. This one's kind of a utility. It fears enemies, and they'll run away from you if you get hit by it. So it's a good way if a bunch of enemies get on me, I can hit 2 real quick and throw people off. And we're going through a little boss fight here, but he's super easy, and I won't really say anything about him. Pretty much what I'm doing is I'm just throwing down Refreshing Path, healing my allies, using Siphoning Soul or Swallow Soul to deal damage, and making sure Crippling Grasp is on him. And that's pretty much it. So our third ability on our restoration staff is protection. I think it's Blessing of the Protection or something like that. I have it written down right here. Let me look. It is Blessing of Protection. You slam down your staff to bless allies in front of you, healing them, and increasing physical resistance and spell resistance. The reason I'm doing that is because I think it's a good ability, and I want to make sure I have it on it so I can level up my restoration skills. Pretty much it. Fourth ability is Mark Target. It exposes an enemy's weakness and has like a pillar of blood, looks like, off of them. Pretty much it lowers their armor and spell resistance, and if you kill it, it gives us 37% more health, or it gives us 37% health back to us. And yeah, so all of these abilities I've said so far are unmorphed because I haven't got to that yet. And our last skill is Entropy, and it's a mage skill. And when I cast this, it gives us spell damage for 20 seconds. So it's just a good way to do more damage. And if we have increased spell damage, that means all of our spells do more damage. So, I mean, it's pretty easy, pretty good. And our ultimate for this bar is Soul Tether. It is a morph of Soul Shred. And by doing this, it stuns targets, it also tethers them, and siphons health from them every 1 second. So it's really good. And that's pretty much all of our skills, and as you can see, I throw them up on the side of the bar here, so you can kind of see what the icons are, so you guys can kind of get an understanding what's going on. Because I can understand if this game is new to you, you might not know what the hell's going on, and I know that I play a lot of Skyrim, so I don't really have this game on my channel a lot, so you might get confused. But hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos, and I think in a little bit we'll be into a boss fight, and I can kind of explain what the build's all about and how bad I am and not being able to actually get the build correctly. So pretty much right here we have a boss coming down. He's real badass, and as you can see, that tornado up in the air, that is my thing that makes it so my auto attacks give me Magicka and stamina back. I also, if you can kind of see, there's a red pillar coming from the sky, and that is my marked target, which actually make sure that his spell and physical resistance is down. You can kind of see it there. But pretty much right now, my main goal is to keep up Entropy, also to keep up Clipping Grass, to throw down Refreshing Path, so I have more damage over time, and then just Swallow Soul to deal damage. So that's kind of my whole rotation. I just want to have all these buffs up as much as I can. That way all my abilities are doing the most damage it can possibly do. And as you can see in my buff bar, or my spells effect bar, I'm not really sure what you call it, but it shows how long the spells that are on me, and what spells that I'm using on enemies last. And you can see the little icon for Clipping Grasp, and I want to make sure that's up all the time, so that means I'm getting the most out of my damage. And right here, we kind of beef it. Our team starts to die for whatever reason. I don't know if our tank's bad. Our tank also rolled as tank and DPS, so I don't know if he's actually just a DPS and he decided, whoa, the dungeon queue takes forever, so I'm just gonna switch roles so that way I can get into the thing. And it's like, I fucking hate when people do that, because it's like, then you just kind of ruin the dungeon for everyone else. And as you can see over there, for a second, sorry to interrupt my train of thought, but there was that green circle with all the blood. I put that down to stop the Kwarma from getting on me, and I'm just trying to focus on the boss because I don't know when my allies are going to start dying. So we got to the point where we can just start hitting our 5 ability, and that's Impale, which we can use at range, which is pretty good, and it is pretty much crits him for 15,000 there, crit for 50,000, non-crits are about 10,000, which is pretty good. So as soon as it gets below 25% health, I just fucking start spamming that button. And right here, one of our friends, or not one of my friends, one of the people actually had to leave for a second, so we had to wait for a while, so I cut out the waiting. But yeah, Trash Mobs is pretty easy. I just throw down Refreshing Path. It does so much damage to all the enemies, and it also heals my allies for so much. It's not even funny. I would not be surprised if I healed as much as our healer did in this dungeon with Blessing of Protection, as well as my Refreshing Path and my ultimate Veil of Blades. Actually, you can activate it if you're low health, and it'll actually heal you again. So that's why I'm kind of looking forward to this build, because I think I can actually heal with this build too. So that's pretty good. I'm picking up some gear here. I came into this dungeon with like a full inventory. You never go into a dungeon with full inventory, because you can't pick up shit, and there's always cool stuff in it. So I think we're about to run into another boss in a second. But yeah, right here, Hive Lord. I fast forward this one because it's not really important. Pretty much what I'm trying to do again is that I'm putting Crippling Grasp on him as much as I can, and I'm actually trying to use Entropy. So Entropy, a little bit more into that skill. It saps health, magic, and stamina from the target over, like, I think it's 20 seconds. Oh yeah, I die here. Maybe that's why I fast forwarded it, so you didn't have to see me die. But yeah, I just got one-shotted because I have like no health. I'm pretty much a glass cannon. The entropy gives me spell damage and steals health and magicka and stamina from the target. So if I have that up all the time, my Swallow Souls do a shit ton of damage, which is really good. And once again, I have to destroy more shit because all my shit, or my inventory is full, so I can't actually pick up anything. And here we get a little bit lost and we get separated, and I don't know why. Freaking, like, people in dungeons are so rammy and stuff. Like, instead of like waiting for your group to get there and get buffed up, they'll just jump into a ad group and not even think about it. Also, yeah, someone aggroed a Betty Netch, so we decided we have to kill that for whatever reason. But yeah, this Magicka Nightblade build, I would recommend it to you guys if you really wanted to figure out something you can do a lot with. Because Magicka Nightblade, I think, is a pretty good healer as well as a DPS. And it's pretty simple. Pretty much all you do is spam one ability and make sure you have other buffs up on the enemies, or debuffs up, and make sure your buffs are up. And here we are fighting this Betty Netch, or Bull Netch, and once again, pretty simple. Stay out of the poison, and you'll live. I usually have a hard time staying out of the red. And what I mean by red is that usually, like right there, you can see the red. That means bad, and get away. But I am usually too stubborn to leave it. I'm like, my healer will heal me through this. I don't have to worry about it. And then I get one shot. It's probably because I played tank on my main for the first like year and a half this game came out. So I'm not used to actually not having health. And usually if I'm playing on my tank, I don't get one shot. This guy definitely get one shot all the time. And maybe it's just how Bretons work. I don't know if I said this. My Magicka Nightblade is a Breton. I talked about that in the first dungeon video. But yeah, it's super simple. Just clearing trash mobs. Not really anything else exciting going on. Gotta delete more stuff because I gotta pick up more shit. I'm trying to pick up all the stuff I can because on this character I'm actually crafting a lot. I want to make sure I get all my clothing up and make sure we be able to craft clothing and wood staves that I can use. And right here, we don't know what the fuck's going on. One of our like group members is just standing by an enemy you don't have to kill and not saying anything, and then he makes his friend type in chat that they want to do this like side enemy, and it's like super weird. It's like he couldn't type in chat, no, hey, let's kill this thing. We just kind of waited for him to show up, and he was just standing there. We figured he was AFK again because he was AFK before, but apparently the dude was just not having it and didn't really want to say anything to us. What an asshole. Alright, so here's another boss. Maybe I can explain a little bit better what I'm doing here. So pretty much, I'm just using Swallow Soul on everything I can. I'm trying to get through the ads, and I'm not really using any of my debuffs yet. But right here, I use Mark Target on one of the, I think one of the ads. Probably should have put it on the boss so I could lower its magic resist. There was a morph for Mark Target that actually, when you kill someone that's marked, you gain major brutality, so you get increased damage for like 5 seconds, which is super good at the beginning of a fight if you kill an ad and just focus on the boss. But right here, I'm just keeping an eye on my spell bar and seeing if my spell is about to run out. So crippling just ran out, but we're already impaling to assassinate them. And I'm not really sure if it's correct to keep crippling on them instead of impaling, because if I take a second to stop impaling, maybe someone gets one-shotted. But I don't know if that damage over time is super important when they get below 300 health. It might help, but I don't know. And right here, I don't know what the people are saying. I'm just like talking. My thing with games like this is like I'll type something that's super mean and super asshole-ish because that's just how I am, and then I realize they don't probably understand that I'm an asshole, so I can't say this to randoms because otherwise they'll get super butthurt. But here is the last boss. So the whole beginning of this dungeon was a Quarma mine, and now we are in a freaking dwarven ruin. So yeah, so right there I threw down my ult to kind of stop them from progressing towards us because it actually is a slow and damage over time. And one of our group members decided to like stand over there with his thumb up his ass instead of coming with the group. So I'm just trying to kill the ads before the boss comes out. And I think here is where I actually get the rhythm down. So right there, I put on my Siphoning Strikes, I put Mark Target, and now I am just using Crippling Grasp on them. I accidentally used my Inner Light, which actually doesn't do anything. But I have my Entropy on for 20 seconds, which increases my spell damage. So now I'm just spamming. And right here, I'm trying to dodge these red circles, so I miss putting my Entropy back up, which I should probably have up all the time. But I do have my Crippling Grasp up, as long as it doesn't run out, and it runs out. So pretty much, yeah, if you guys want to play this build, I recommend getting like this UI where it shows you the spells that you have on the target at the time, because it's super good, because you don't know if you have it on, like even if I have it like right there in front of me saying that I need to renew it, I still miss it sometimes. But the whole purpose is I need to have Entropy up, and I need to have Crippling Grasp up at all times. That way I have increased spell damage, and that way I have a damage over time. Refreshing Path also needs to be up, but it's not as important because the damage over time isn't that good. But I should have that up at all times too. So I just pretty much need to have a rotation that I need to know that every 8 seconds Crippling Grasp is done, every 20 seconds Entropy is done. So pretty much I need to do Crippling Grasp twice, and as soon as I do it twice, I need to make sure that I switch over to my second bar and use Entropy. But I've also continued my build, and I have another skill that gives me spell damage, so I switched that out. So yeah. Also, so here we go, we killed the boss. Also want to mention that I randomly got invited to the Gilda the other day. So yeah, if you guys want to join a guild, they seem pretty cool. You just message me or whisper me on ESO on PC at Hidden Peter, and you can join the guild if you want. They seem pretty cool, and I don't know, maybe we can get some more people in the Altmary Dominion in it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure you leave a like on it, and subscribe for more. And this is Clayton, signing out.